Alrighty guys, we're back for some Boros Midrange, and this is a Dominaria United Standard Brew. We're going to go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Redcat and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to you. Also, we do got that Discord link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up. I, of course, highly recommend it. Okay, what do we got in the build here? Well, we got 4 Goldhounds, 1 mana, 1/1, first strike menace, tap it, sack it, add 1 mana of any color. Pretty terrific ramp, and there's actually going to be a reason why we have so many permanents here on the front of the build, which we'll go over in just a second. We got 2 Candletraps. This is a 1 mana aura. Enchanted creature has Defender. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by enchanted creature. Then it has a Coven ability here as well. For 2 and a white, sacrifice Candletrap, exile enchanted creature, activate only if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers. So I don't know how often we'll get to use that bottom ability, but I'm assuming it will happen every now and then. Overall, it looks like a pretty janky card, but I do think it's going to be enough to slow down specific aggro builds, and we're seeing a lot of Gruul and a lot of mono red as well, so we'll see if Candletrap can help us out a little bit. We got a couple Circle of Confinements in here, so when it enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until Circle of Confinement leaves the battlefield. Whenever an opponent casts a vampire spell with the same name as a card exiled with Circle of Confinement, you gain 2 life. And there are totally enough vampires being played for us to actually see that bottom ability come into play, so we'll see. Got a single Fateful Absence as like just an emergency removal, but like I said, it's going to be important that we're playing permanents on the front of the build here, so we'll see if we talk about replacing this for like another Circle of Confinement, for example. I don't think so though. I think this is going to come in handy. We still need like some kind of removal for like Sheoldred and stuff like that, so we'll see. We got 4 Spirited Companions. This is a 2 mana 1/1, and when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. We're seeing more and more Spirited Companion being played in Standard, which is pretty exciting. It's an awesome little puppy. Now we got 1 Abrade here. I wanted to make sure we had some form of removal for artifacts because there are a ton of Reckoner Bankbusters being played, and then also just having like being able to deal 3 damage to something, it happens to do a lot, you know? We do have a single Reckoner Bankbuster in here for a little bit of card draw. While it's not as good in here as some other builds where you can just like keep the mana open and keep your instants open all the time, you know, there's not too many instant speed cards in here, so most of the time you're probably going to be drawing on your turn looking for something to play, so we'll see. I think it's still going to be worth having 1 of them. We got 4 Restoration of Eiganjo, so this is the reason we like having those early permanents. So for 3 mana, Chapter 1 here, search your library for a basic plains. Reveal it, put it into your hand. Nice. Chapter 2, you may discard a card. When you do, return target permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So yeah, target permanent, guys. So we could bring a Candletrap back. Or yeah, we could discard a Candletrap, for example, and bring it right back. Worst comes to worst, you do a little bit of ramping with this by discarding that plains and bringing it back tapped, you know? So Restoration is a pretty powerful card, and I'm excited to see how well it actually does in here. I think it's going to be terrific. Imagine this, right? Turn 1 Goldhound, turn 2 Restoration, right? Ramp off of that Goldhound. And then on turn 3, you could always bring the Goldhound back tapped, which is pretty sweet, isn't it? Eventually, yeah, getting that Architect of Restoration out as early as possible seems pretty powerful since it's able to generate those 1/1s. We got a couple wedding announcement in here, and I think it would be a little bit foolish not to run at least a couple wedding announcement. I was originally going to have 4. It was really hard packing everything that I wanted into this deck though, and I think 2 is going to be just fine, but yeah, I think it would have been a real miss if I didn't include this at least as a couple of, right? Because it's just so powerful. We have a way to actually go pretty wide in this deck. There's actually a lot of creatures packed in here. Get to go wide with Restoration too, so when it flips to Wedding Festivity, that can just kind of help you close out games as well. So If you're up against control and stuff, then I think we're gonna have the upper hand against control, but we'll see. We got 4 Fable of the Mirror Breakers naturally, guys. I'm sorry, but also I'm not sorry. I'm pretty happy that red has the strongest card in standard right now. The card is just ridiculous. It's going to be doing a lot in here, and we're always happy to see it. We got a couple Archangel of Wraths. This is a 4 mana 3/4 flying lifelink, pretty good. Now it has 2 different kicker costs here though. You can kick it for a black mana, and you can kick it, or I should say, for a red mana. So when it enters the battlefield kicked, it deals 2 damage to any target, and then if it's kicked twice, it does another 2 damage to any target. And then that 2 damage also has that lifelink too, so this card can really turn around games. It can take out like your opponent's like Fable of the Mirror Breaker token and stuff, so pretty sweet card. I wonder if it would have been worth having more of them in here. We'll see how much of an MVP it ends up being today. We have 2 Depopulates. Some emergency board wipes is pretty necessary. Some of those aggro builds are super scary, and some of the mid-range builds go a little bit too wide, huh? So having emergency board wipes is going to be pretty important. Got a couple Wandering Emperors in here. Terrific Planeswalker that you're going to see everywhere. We got a single Jaya, even though the -8 isn't, it literally does like nothing in here. Don't look at the -8. We're looking at those other 3 abilities, which are pretty powerful. So for 4 mana, 4 loyalty Planeswalker, you got a +1 here where we get to generate a 1/1 monk with prowess, which could be pretty good in here, guys. Anything that generates us extra creatures on the board and stuff like that, lets us establish some kind of board state, going to be pretty solid. And I wonder if it would be worth having 2 of these in here. Yeah, just don't look at that -8 at all. The -1 here, exile the top 2 cards of your library, choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. That could really come in handy. The -2, choose target creature and opponent controls. Whenever you attack this turn, Jaya deals damage equal to the number of attacking creatures to that creature. That could easily do a ton of damage and act as an extra piece of removal in this deck, so we'll see, huh? Should we go over the -8? I guess so. -8, you get an emblem. Whenever you cast a red instant or sorcery spell, copy it twice. You may choose new targets for the copies, so yeah. Literally does nothing in here. Well, I guess the Abrade. Yeah, but you're not going to want a -8 Jaya. I think the last time I played Jaya, it was also in a deck where the -8 did nothing. The top 3 abilities just happen to be pretty darn good, so that's why, I guess. But yeah, anyways, what else do we got here? We got a couple Elspeth Resplendent on the top end here. So also we have a Sanctuary Warden on the top end too. So Elspeth Resplendent is a 5 mana, 5 loyalty Planeswalker with a +1 here where you choose up to 1 target creature, put a +1/+1 counter, and a counter from among flying, lifelink, first strike, or vigilance on it. So I got ahead of myself there, read them out of order, because I think more often than not, you're probably going to slap lifelink onto something just so that you can get a little bit of life back, as you know, there's a lot of powerful decks in Standard that really know how to put the pressure on. So we'll see though, you know, slapping flying onto something and flying on in for the last little bit of damage, because it's not like this deck doesn't know how to do damage, so you never know. The -3 here is pretty darn powerful. Look at the top 7 cards of your library, and every time I play with Elspeth Resplendent, I always point out that 7 is a ton of cards, holy cow. You may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So another reason to play early permanents too. And look at all these amazing 3-drops that we can grab with Elspeth Resplendent, and it would get a shield counter too. Pretty cool. Giving like a shield counter on Wedding Announcement could actually come in handy, since Destroy Evil is a card that is played pretty often, huh? Now it has a -7 here. That can help us close out games, and it won't be too hard to pull off in a build like this. So -7, create 5 3/3 White Angel creature tokens with flying. Nice, pretty good. And then of course I mentioned the Sanctuary Warden. This card is sweet. I don't think it would be worth having two of them. When we see it, it'll be awesome. And if we ever like saw both of them, for example, if I played two and we saw both of them, then it might be a little bit too slow, where we're going to want to see that early removal and early slowdown cards like Candletrap and stuff. So yeah, we'll see. It's also a great target to like copy with Reflection. That could be pretty cool, huh? So now in the mana base, guys, I am splashing black for the Archangel of Wrath, and that's completely optional because we do have the treasure that could act as the black source for the kicker cost here. We have treasure off of the 2/2 Goblin Shaman here. We have Goldhound to help us with that as well. So it's really something to think about. I think this is optional. You get a treasure eventually off of Bankbuster too. That's something to think about. But I still wanted to splash the black because I could, and I kind of wanted to test it out. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think these are going to be optional. We'll see, though. Hopefully they don't end up hurting us too much, as they are both pain lands, of course. You have the Wind-Scarred Crag here. I don't think this is going to slow us down at all, where the one life actually comes in handy quite often, too. Crucible and a Seat of the Empire, and sometimes in decks like this, I like to run 2 Seat of the Empires. I didn't want to this time around. Some honorable mentions, guys. Borrowed Time could be pretty sweet in here. It's a great card to hit off of like the Elspeth -3, for example, so it's just something to think about. Great removal. Brutal Cathar, kind of the same concept, right? But when we're rocking the Depopulates too, Brutal Cathar could kind of act as protection for your opponent's creatures, and like they end up going wide and you have to depopulate. Your Brutal Cathar, you know, dies, and then they get that creature back. I like, it's something to think about with Elspeth, but in this particular build, I don't think so. Heirloom Battlehem is a pretty sweet piece of removal that can gain life. I like this card a lot. I couldn't find room for it this time round. And a couple more board wipes here to go over. Burn Down the House, of course, is sweet, but it also hits Planeswalkers, and we have 5 Planeswalkers in here that is going to hopefully put in a lot of work. So not this time round. And then Farewell on the top end. Man, I really don't like Farewell. It could be pretty good in here, though. Let's be real. If you ever had to exile all enchantments, that would be pretty bad for this deck, though. So I guess it would kind of work, maybe as a one-of on the top end, but I also just don't like this card at all, so it's not in here. Alright guys, that took forever. There is a ton of stuff packed in here, so I apologize for the longer intro. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. Right into that first game, guys. Let's go. I was a little concerned there. The menus were a little laggy. Okay, we'll try it. I like the draw off of Companion. I think overall it's a pretty slow hand. I guess we'll get Sundown Pass down. Might as well. Right up against some control. I don't mind if they use a counterspell on Companion. Nice, we get that draw. Depopulate, well that's probably not going to do a lot here. Impulse. I'm scared, guys. We're seeing a lot more blue-white control. We're seeing some Esper control too, which totally makes sense. I think Esper control makes more sense than blue-white control, personally, because of Void Rend. But okay, Restoration, that is sweet. Might as well, I guess we'll get the cave down. Let's start with the swing. We'll probably just go ramping off Restoration if they let us have it, but if they end up countering Restoration, then we might be able to get like Jaya down next turn. We just have a lot of power here, so. Okay, grab a Plains, thin out this deck a little bit. Only have 25 land in here, which I definitely think is going to be enough. Hopefully it's not too much, actually. We do have a lot of ramp, huh? And potential ramp, I suppose. We have the second red source on the Springs for Jaya. I'm assuming they're going to pass, yeah. Wind-Scarred, huh? Alright, we'll just Actually, let's do the Wind-Scarred since it's going to come back tapped either way. That's the best bet. Because we get that life gain and then we don't have to worry about having a card come out tapped this turn. When we play it, I mean. We're going to try the Jaya. We're going to try. And a counter on Jaya, it's still not too bad. We might want to swing first, though, because we could let them tap out for, like, a Wandering Emperor and then get the Jaya down. Well, yeah, let's let them get that Wandering Emperor on the board, I suppose. Oh, okay. This might be a counter spell, which I'd rather Jaya get countered than the Elspeth, so let's see. I mean, blue-white control playing nothing else but Impulse it's pretty scary, guys. Like, this is gonna be an uphill battle. Hey, the last video we started out against control too. Uh-oh. Oh no, guys. Is control coming back? I hope not. Although sometimes the mid-range game... Yeah, sometimes like the mid-range decks that we go up against are equally as brutal, so... They let the Jaya hit the board. Holy cow, let's get a 1/1 monk. These planeswalkers are going to be sweet against like the opponent's farewells. There's a lot of mana in our hand, guys. Hopefully we don't draw too much more. Are they going to pass again? So far, the opponent has only been searching, so pretty scary stuff. I'm still expecting like a Wandering Emperor to drop soon enough. The reason they didn't have to drop it last turn is because they're not like in danger. Like they still have 18 life. Spirited Companion isn't hitting very hard, so. Alright, let's go ahead. We'll get the planes down. Do we start with a swing? See what happens? Or do we go -1 on Jaya and see if there's anything we want to grab instead? We always play Elspeth for a bigger swing with Monk. I think we start with the swing. We don't care too much about a little bit of a bigger swing. Because we want to see if they have anything here. Now they take the 2. It's actually a tough decision. I guess we're going to plus on Jaya. I really don't want Elspeth to get gobbled up by like a Make Disappear or something simple, but I think we try it, right? 5 mana open is probably going to be like a farewell next turn, and then having these planeswalkers down. I think we try it. We do have another Elspeth in the deck. We have a ton of other cards that we could just top deck here that are pretty good. Okay, there's the first counterspell. I mean, they were holding out. They were holding that back for a while there until we played something powerful, so they probably just would have kept holding it back, you know? They pass. Okay, well... Wandering Emperor. Okay, we might flash that down in our combat step. Get the planes down. Got that -1 here too on Jaya. We could start with that and see what we see. I guess we'll do that. Gonna try to get a big swing with these monks this turn, so... Oh, we didn't want to play the planes if we planned on the -1, by the way, guys. Because we could have found a land, which we obviously don't need the extra mana anyways. See if they end up, like, doing something silly, like countering the Goldhound. No, they're gonna let that hit for sure. Alright, now we'll do the swing, and we have Wandering Emperor. Alright. We have 2 open. We're going for extra damage here, guys. Urtai Scorn. Okay, that's 2 out of their deck. That's good news, and this is a big swing. I'd expect a Wandering Emperor to hit soon. A pretty good swing, guys. Emperor doesn't hit Architect because of the Vigilance. Now, there's gotta be a board wipe, right? If it is a board wipe on their turn... Okay, Soaring City on Jaya. Okay, now a Farewell would be devastating because we can't... Okay, they pass. Well, it's gotta be something. Where do I start? I guess we'll get Sulfurous Springs down first. We'll get Jaya. I think the more mana we have on the board, the better. Make their Syncopates cost more. We gotta do Jaya before combat because the monks get a buff, so that's kind of important. Goldhound's Menace might come in handy too, because I really don't know what their plan here is. It's kind of been a bizarre game against Control, where I'm expecting different things than what's happening here. We could -1 the Jaya, but I'm not going to. I'm anticipating something that apparently might not happen. Try the swing. It's gotta be Emperor, right? Yeah, there's the Wandering Emperor. Okay, so they can hit one of the monks, they gain 2, and then they're still alive here. Candletrap doesn't do much. So here's something funny. No, it wouldn't have worked. Well, if we would have minused the Jaya and found something to play, then maybe... Now, we would have had to, like, Candletrap one of our own creature. I guess Candletrap... Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to think if there is a way to get that extra 2 through. This could be pretty devastating here, because we got the opponent down to 2, which happens to be the 2 from the life gain here on the Emperor. Oh! They're missing a board wipe? Oh! Right. So... minus the Jaya, see what we see. Could be removal or like anything really. Restoration's pretty good. Let's go Restoration. We'll play that. Prowess on the monks. Jaya doing a thing this game, huh? We gotta play this out because we don't know what's in the opponent's hand. We could Candletrap this if we wanted to, and then the monks get another buff, but I'm not going to. We're just going to swing here. Like, we're pretty wide. Another Wandering Emperor isn't going to be enough here, I don't think. Yeah, GG opponent. I think we got lucky, guys. I really do. I don't exactly know what I was playing around most of that game there. I guess it was more so delayed responses from the opponent, where I expected a lot of this to happen sooner, but then it didn't, and then I was anticipating that board wipe like 100%. Like 2 impulses and the memory deluge, and not a single board wipe from the opponent. I mean, we got lucky, right? I do think that the longer that game went on, I don't know, who was favored there? I guess we kind of were, because we had a lot of ways to generate extra things onto the board. Okay. This is keepable. There's no early removal, but that is okay. Might be up against some aggro here. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I wonder which one's better to get down first, Restoration or Fable. Probably going to be situational. Rafine's Tower, okay. Let's get the Wind-Scarred down. Second Restoration. Plaza, okay. Well, this is probably Esper Legends, which is pretty scary. The Depopulate will come in handy, I suppose, if it doesn't get countered. Yeah, no early removal, but it's still a fine hand. I think we're going to go with Restoration to thin the deck out. Ooh, okay, we're going to need to turn 4 to populate pretty much no matter what here. So if they end up keeping up mana, then we know it's the counter. I doubt it, though. I think, oh, they're probably going to keep open 4, huh? That's usually what they end up doing. Fable's fine. I think Restoration is better since we plan on the Depopulate. We'll probably end up ramping. No, we'll probably go Spirited Companion. Well... it's gonna eat the Depopulate is the problem. We'll see. We'll see what the opponent ends up doing here. If they keep open mana, then we can expect a counterspell, and the counterspell's probably going to hit the Depopulate. So if they keep open mana, we could just pass it back and keep open the Wandering Emperor, maybe? And then hit the Underdog. Doesn't hit Rafine because of the Ward 1. Down to 11. It's pretty scary business. Yeah, they're probably going to pass. Yeah, that's rough, man. That's pretty rough. Do we ramp? Do we go draw off of Companion? Let's draw off of Companion over the ramp and see what we draw here. I can only imagine this is open with a counterspell and or a Wandering Emperor of their own. Another Restoration. It could be... Do we just keep the Wandering Emperor, guys? I think we're gonna have to. I think Depopulate's gonna get countered. See, they're gonna attack before playing anything, though, and the Wandering Emperor could just get hit, too. I think we lost this one. I think this one's gonna be a fast game. I'm not... Oh, their own Wandering Emperor. So we can take care of this while they're tapped out, then. So we can take care of the Underdog. Let it resolve. And we're gonna -2 Underdog here. We do this while they're tapped out, because a deck like this runs Urtai, and a deck like this runs Make Disappear. So just like taking care of an extra threat, getting some life gain down. So we still didn't, like, we played around multiple cards there, so we'll see if that ends up working out nicely for us. The Wandering Emperor might take this damage instead of our face, which could be sweet. Yeah, taking less damage. It goes a long way, guys. We're about to flip the Restoration, which can block on the ground. Oh, man. They're probably just going to keep all this mana open again, though, guys. Woo! Gonna be a tough game. We'll see. Hey, there's the Urtai. So they could have countered the Depopulate, and then it would have just probably been a GG right then and there. So we'll see. Losing our Wandering Emperor does suck a little bit, but yeah, there's a Bankbuster. They have 2 open. Is it going to be a Make Disappear? Or can we successfully get this Depopulate down? I'd hate to lose the Restoration after just getting it, but like, we're in danger. So we have Seat of the Empire as well. We have 3 Restorations in hand. Let's start with a swing at the Emperor and see where they block, because we have Seat of the Empire, so like we could do some fancy business. We could Seat of the Empire, take care of that. Only 2 mana open after the fact, though. Alright, if it's a Make Disappear, it's a Make Disappear. I don't think we can wait till next turn to have the 2 open, and then they might just have like another Urtai Resurrected open in hand. So let's see if this hits. It's gonna be a Make Disappear from the opponent. Very terrifying deck, guys. Oh, buddy, that is stacked with good cards and tough stuff to play around. We do have a blocker on the ground, but they can power up Bankbuster, so pretty much no matter what we're... Oh, they blitz back the Underdog. No, wait, was that one that they discarded earlier? Because yeah, we exiled the other Underdog. Woo, buddy. Good game, opponent. Stack the Rafine with a bunch of counters and then just keep on going, huh? We'll block there. Drop the GGs. We really needed that Depopulate to hit. And it's like I said, I don't know if we would have had that extra turn if we... Like, I think the Depopulate had to hit there, but I might be missing something too. There might have been a better line of play. Maybe if we played Fable instead of Restoration, maybe there would have been something there instead, because we could have discarded, searched for different types of removal and stuff like that, right? Let's hop into some more games, because I'm actually going to edit out some of the matches already. There was one particular match that was way too long and a little bit too miserable for my taste. So I kind of want to get some better matches in. I also designed this deck to go up against all the aggro that I was seeing, and we're not seeing any aggro right now. So maybe we'll find some here. Opponent goes first. It's kind of a bad hand, but I also like it at the same time. Like, all of these late... okay, let's get Caves down. All of these late planeswalkers are going to be very powerful once we start slamming them onto the board. Guardian, nice. Wandering Emperor actually takes care of Guardian pretty nicely. We'll go ahead and get the Sulfurous Springs down. No plays here is a little scary, but the opponent wasn't playing too fast just yet, so I think we're safe for now. Probably Restoration again, right? I don't really know. Like, it's kind of tough. Like, both of these are so powerful. I guess overall... Oh, Wedding Announcement's pretty good, too. Get some chump blockers down. Oh, man. I am completely torn on what I want to do here. I think I'm actually going to go Restoration. Yeah, all of our 3-drops are just stacked. Like, Wedding Announcement gets us chump blockers, but we're not... Okay, Reinforcements, that's pretty scary. That's a little bit scary. So we get our planes, and we might just ramp. We might, but we don't have any extra land after the seat. I guess it depends. Yeah, they're going to want to go ahead and enlist here so they get the scry in. Wedding Announcement, nice. That tells me I probably wanted to get the Wedding Announcement down. Maybe. Restoration's pretty great, though. The sooner we can get this to 3-4, the better. We gotta get this Wandering Emperor down. And while they're tapped out, we might do this on our turn, guys. We might take out the Guardian on our turn because we don't know what mono white is playing necessarily. It's either Destroy Evil or Valorous Stance. While we are seeing... Wait. Valorous Stance is just more indestructible, right? Yeah, it doesn't give it hexproof or anything. Oh, nice. Okay, so we'll probably save the Wandering Emperor for their turn then. Yeah. I think that would be better because then they'll enlist first. Oh, Circle of Confinement. Well, that would have been good early on, but it's good to see here because now we can go Circle of Confinement and then grab the Guardian, I guess. I'd rather take the Guardian completely out of the game, but we could always do that another time. I don't want to take, like, reinforcements, because if they ever take out the circle, then... Seed of the Empire open too. Man, are we, like, do we even keep Wandering Emperor open here, or do we just get our own Wedding Announcement down to keep up with these 1/1s? Because we're about to get a 3/4 Architect. I guess we get our own Wedding Announcement down to keep up, even though Wandering Emperor is so good. Like, this whole match has just been one of those games where I'm like, what the heck? Where do we even play? Like, what do we even play? Who are we? What's going on? Okay, so I will take that trade and take 1 damage from the token. Drop their own Wandering Emperor. Still worth the block here because that's 2 damage that we're not taking to the face. They're going to draw off of Announcement. We're going to get a 1/1 off of Announcement. We have our own Wandering Emperor. Jaya is pretty sweet here. And we have Elspeth that we could always -3 too. Could always just keep Wandering Emperor. We could give our Architect lifelink or something nasty, but I don't know if we have to do that. We don't have double red for the Jaya here. I think we just go more blockers for now. Actually, I'm gonna pass. Because wherever they put the +1 counter is probably where we want to put the Wandering Emperor's -2. And we have 2 Emperors is the thing, so... Pretty scary mono white build, guys. The decks in Standard are terrifying and packed with powerful cards. Hey, Welcoming Vampire. Awesome. I love that card. Sweet to see. I would expect them to... Oh! They might not swing, guys. If they don't have removal for Architect, I'm still gonna drop Emperor, obviously. Go +1 route, maybe. Could also go wide here, too. So let's go ahead, get our Emperor down, and let's go, I guess, +1 counter on the Restoration. We could go a couple turns of -2 to keep up with the wide board state, but I think one of the big things here is that Elspeth just chilling in our hand. This could be like a Fateful Absence or something along those lines. Their wedding festivity is now active, and next turn ours will be active. I think it was a good idea to get that wedding announcement down. Yeah, a couple turns of... Okay, nice. So we can still keep Seat of the Empire then as removal. Still no second red source for Jaya, but that's fine. Could eventually maybe get a treasure from the Fable too, or find it off the discard, of course. I think the -3 on Elspeth is pretty good, but also just going going lifelink on Restoration. We might want to wait though. Give it first strike too. Ah, man. Let's get Elspeth down. I'm curious to see... I really want to give Architect flying, but at any moment it could just be a simple Fateful Absence, and then it really messes us up. I guess we'll go ahead and -3 and see what we hit, because finding removal is probably the best bet. Another wedding announcement. See, that's just really freaking good too. That's just really good. And at this point, we'll go ahead and minus the Emperor and see where they swing. We have the second Emperor in hand. If they go Welcoming Vampire into Emperor, then we might be able to block enough here to save the Elspeth, which could be huge for us. We're going to get 2 more 1/1s. Yeah, we don't like any of these trades here. Okay, another reinforcements is pretty scary, guys. It's pretty scary. Like, their board state is much wider than our board state. A Depopulate would be huge. Oh, Brutal Cathar hits the Architect. They're actually gonna just hit one of our tokens so that way they don't have to worry too much. Oh, it's soldiers. It's soldiers, guys. I should have known. Bro, look at those buffs. Oh, man, that's so cool. Oh, dang. Oh, no, we're gonna die. How do we want to do this? First of all, Welcoming Vampire in a soldier deck. It makes a lot of sense. I like that a lot. The opponent's deck looks terrific, guys. The best draw we can get now is one of our 2 Depopulates. So we're going to want to get Fable down as soon as possible to help us draw into the Depopulate, as that is like the best thing we could possibly do. Especially since we exiled the one thing that gives Indestructible too. So we're going to just make sure we can survive as long as possible. A March on Architect. Oh man, they end up oh, Sanctuary Warden and another announcement. Dang, they're going for it, guys. Right, so this is a ton of damage. We're gonna have to split these up. And that's still 12 damage coming through. Oh man. What an aggressive play from the opponent with the March. I love it, opponent. I love it. All to phase 2. They don't even think twice about our Planeswalkers. What can we do, guys? What can we do? Is there anything we could do to find the Depopulate? I don't think so. I think that's it. I think that's it, guys. Fable. Plus, I guess we'll get a 2/2. we'll give it lifelink. Right? Is that the card we want to give lifelink to, or do we want to do it to like the token here? Then we won't have Suit of the Empire open, unfortunately. Or the other Wandering Emperor, which could be big too. I guess we continue to go wide though. Although the either way I think we're dead. So let's put the lifelink on here and I guess keep the Wandering Emperor, the second Wandering Emperor open. I guess that's fine. Yeah, GG opponent, dude. That is a wide board. Oh man. It's so cool though. I love to see that like soldiers seeing play here. Like that is so cool. Let's be real, you know? Oh man. Okay. Get the 2-2. We're definitely gonna let them swing. They don't know what's in hand too, but I'm pretty sure they know that a full swing is gonna do it. We can successfully block. See, this even has first strike too, so you don't want to block there with our lifelink. They could have also just found removal on top too. Go ahead, get the Wandering Emperor down. We're gonna take the I guess the reinforcements over here. Oh, we're gonna take the veteran since they swung with it. Actually takes a lot of pressure off the board here, making a lot of things a lot weaker. So now we can successfully block one of the 3/3s and chump the Moonrage Brute. We gain 4 here. It's still way too much damage coming through, but like that was actually, I almost missed that. Yeah, you want to take away whatever's buffing it all. Get the commando down. Take out a wedding announcement. Dude, that's sick. Hey, good game, opponent. That was a fun one, guys. Even though we got pretty wrecked overall, I still had fun just watching the opponent's deck do a thing, as it looks like a lot of fun to play. Alright guys, hey, the matches took forever on this one. I'm actually going to edit out one of those losses because it was pretty miserable and it was a very long match. And so overall, I'm relatively satisfied with the deck. It definitely didn't do a thing. Like, on the surface, you'd think it would do more, but I guess it's one of those things where somehow you gotta draw, and like that happens to be pretty difficult. There were some moments where I definitely could have played it out better. I think the double red on Jaya may have been a little greedy, but overall it's not going to hold you back too much. It's just one card, and Jaya is very powerful, and it helps you close out games, and the monks happen to be pretty darn good. Just like the token generation in general off of Jaya and Wandering Emperor is one of the keystones of this particular build. Did we get to see Archangel of Wrath today? I don't think so, unfortunately, guys. Those matches were pretty long and drawn out, and I unfortunately don't think we got to see the Archangel. I'll have to double check all the matches to see. Overall, I've always really enjoyed like the restoration style of a deck where we have like these early permanents that we can bring back with restoration. It's a very powerful card. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it do too much. Those were pretty like tough decks that the opponents were bringing to the table. So what would I do? What would I change? What could make this more powerful? Well, the first thought there is like against that last deck, maybe go up a couple Depopulates. Maybe all 4 is 100% necessary. There's a problem with that though, right? How often are we actually going to go up a deck up against a deck that is going that wide? Because our first game was up against blue-white control, and that's kind of becoming a trend, guys. We're seeing a lot more control. Blue-white control and Esper control are kind of doing a thing right now, and I'm seeing a lot more of it, and I kind of built this deck specifically to take on the mono red and the Gruul and a couple of the other aggro builds that we're seeing float about, but then we still got completely run over there in the last game against mono white aggro. So really something to think about. You know what? I might drop a couple Fable of the Mirror Breakers. It's so powerful, and I feel like it should do a lot in here, but I think it might be better to go up 4 wedding announcements. as funny as that is, I think the deck knows how to go a little bit wide, so maybe a couple Fables and then 4 Wedding Announcement instead. Maybe that'll do a thing. Something else, guys, I might drop down to 1 Elspeth and go up another Archangel. Like I said, I don't think we got to see Archangel today, but I think it's going to be pretty good. And like the lifelink and everything, it's going to help you close out games. It's going to help you against the aggro because of the life gain. So really depends, guys. What would you add or take out? Let me know down in the comments, and hopefully the video's not too long. Like I said, yeah, I'm about an hour into recording, and I'm going to be cutting out that one miserable match that I don't think it's even worth watching. What was it up against? Oh, it was up against Orzhov. Oh, that was brutal. Yeah, I'll be cutting that one just for the sake of the video not going over an hour, and then also saving you guys a little bit. It was a bad one. We weren't drawing very well, and I don't always do that. Actually, I haven't done it for months, so it's not very often, but trust me, you guys will just have to trust me on this one. Either way, I still enjoyed the deck. I think more testing is required. I know I say that often, but that's usually the case, isn't it? Something else you could consider is maybe going up another Fateful Absence. I think maybe even going up that Abrade. That might be a little bit better because we have to take care of Bankbuster sooner. Did we see the opponents with Bankbuster today? I forget, but yeah, sometimes the Bankbuster draws the opponent too many cards early on. So like that extra Abrade, I mean, don't sleep on this card right now, guys, because of all the Bankbusters floating about. Unfortunately, then, well, yeah, even up against aggro, though, of course, 3 damage does a lot too, so I don't know, man. I kind of want to play like 10 more games with this, but the matches were just taking way too long. So yeah, either way, if you made it this far into the video, hi, thank you so much. What are you guys doing here? Y'all are champions, and I will see you in the next video.